Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Yanamurtim Dvanvatitam Gagana Sarusham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Pavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurutam Namami. Welcome to another episode of Nithyananda Leelas. I'm your host, Ma Nithyananda, and today I have a lovely guest, Suzanne from the U.S. Welcome, Ma.
Thank you very much.
And we met at the Ujjain Kumbh Mela, which was an amazing experience, us and 50 million of our closest friends. And we got talking during the cleanup of the camp when we were taking the dorms apart and in the 50-degree heat. And I was so amazed at your story because, you know, you never know how people have arrived there, what got them there. And you just looked like you skipped onto a plane and arrived. And I had no idea that you'd gone through such turmoil and had prayed so hard to Swamiji for a miracle to get there. So we have one mic, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. First of all, it's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm so glad I met you. You were a very inspirational person. Back in Kumbh Mela, a lot of healing happened because of just talking to you and your story, and you advising me a few things I could do, a few techniques like the mirror technique I hadn't heard of before that. So that was fabulous. And so I guess I just want to start off. My name is Suzanne Cole. I'm from Southern California, U.S. And I heard about Swamiji through my mother. She just happened to be driving by one day, and she just happened to want to miss I think it was like a red light or something. So she went through, which you're not supposed to do. Went through a parking lot to miss the light. And then she looked and she saw a big Shiva statue in this big front window. And she, of course, being interested in Hinduism since I was a young kid, she's like, I got to check this out. So she goes in there. It just happens to be a Nithyananda temple. It's the LA adheenam. So she checks it out, just falls in love with Swamiji. And of course, she's going to tell her kids. So thank goodness for my mom. And so I was dabbling in it a little bit. I mean, I wanted to be there a heck of a lot more than I was. I, at the time, was going through a very, very hard time because I had a boyfriend that was very much holding me back. I wanted to be a free spirit, free bird, and I wanted to, seek. I was a seeker. I wanted to know spiritual truths. I mean, even since I was a little kid, I wanted that. It was very, very important to me. And so when I heard about Swamiji, of course, I wanted to check it out. Definitely want, another insight, see if, maybe he's the one. Because actually, I had come from a guru that we kind of separated from for a while. I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I move on to another spiritual teacher? Do I, I don't know. I felt kind of like I don't want to cheat on my guru kind of thing. But then, so I, started going to a few of these like workshop two-way video things that they were showing at the LA temple. And so there was a person that asked a question to Swamiji, Swamiji, how do I know if you're my guru? And I said... And they said, which is like the perfect answer for me. He said that when you're thinking about me always, something like that, along those words. And it was like the perfect answer for me. It's like me asking that question and me getting the answer. But it wasn't me. It was the other person. But it was like, it was perfect for me. And it's amazing how things work out like that. Somebody else's question could be your question. You didn't even know it was your question. but there it is. So ever since then, it was like, wow, okay, I'm constantly thinking of Swamiji. I mean, my mom had pictures of him everywhere. I mean, I was like, mom's always talking about him. I mean, he's just this wonderful divine being. But I was just like torn. What do I do? What do I do? And that just, boom, at that very moment, I just knew. Still, though, I had my issues with trying to get away from my boyfriend. He was very controlling and, didn't want me to leave the house, didn't want me to leave him. Even if it was a holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, especially if it's a spiritual thing. Oh, you don't need to go to that, So it was very difficult and challenging to get away from that. And, at that point, I was actually a very weak person. He just seemed to have this control over me. Like right now, after being in Bididi and going through Kumbh Mela and all this stuff, I feel like I have literally not only changed, but I'm like a stronger person. Like, wowee. Thank you, Swamiji. So I was just praying my heart out. And then there's this one night where I was watching on the internet, I was watching a live two-way conference, and he was talking about Kumbh Mela, and suddenly, boom, he threw down the news, because this was supposed to be like some special news. I'm not missing this. So I'm logged on. Okay. He's like, Kumbh Mela is free. My stomach dropped. My heart stopped. I'm like, oh my gosh, my prayers have been answered, because literally money was the only thing stopping me. I was like, how do I do this? How is this possible? So I managed to, my parents paid for my flight to get to Kumbh Mela. I managed to get there, and my world just totally changed. I couldn't believe, like, wow. I mean, I had been to India before, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years prior, but it wasn't like this. I mean, Kumbh Mela was a whole new experience.
Well, and I remember you telling me as well that not only had the relationship gone sour, but you'd been in a job for years and years that was a dead-end job as well.
So yeah, we'll start with the relationship part of it. So when he threw down this news, like, it's free, I literally burst into tears. I cried harder than I'd cried in my entire life. And I had cried pretty hard a few times in my life. But this was the deepest, sincerest cry of just, thank you, God, Swamiji, whatever it was. At that time, it was like divine beings. Oh, my goodness, whatever it is. Wow. So I, with the most gratitude, and I was just like literally like blown away. Could this happen? I mean, I was literally pinching myself. I was like crying, pinching. Is this real? Yeah. My dream had come true. I wanted to meet Swamiji so desperately. And boom, just like that. There you have it. And so the rest is history. I got there, and then the job part. I had been at that job for about 11 years. Yeah. So by the time I went to Kumbh Mela, it was like 11 years and 1 week, I believe it was. And just total dead end job. I mean, it was customer service, just people like, being real nasty to you and all that sort of thing. And so it actually made me really strong in that sense. You learn to deal with difficult people, which was actually good. I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I'm moving on to the next step in my life. But yeah, so to get out of that, to finally say, hey, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. Wow, was that the coolest experience ever? And they're like, after 11 years, they're just jaw dropping. What? You're leaving? What? So there was that. And then, and there was only, a few of the little details I had to deal with them. I had paid for a car, and so I had to figure out what to do with that. Boom, my friend texted me, hey, do you know anybody that has, a car? I really need one. I'm low on money, this, that. I'm like, I have a car. Do you want to borrow it for a while? Because I was like, after Kumbh Mela, I wanted to actually, I actually kind of knew I wanted to stay in Bididi for, the Ananda Yogam program. I was hoping for a year, so here I am almost, 5-6 months into it or whatever. I've been in India anyways for about that long. And so I was like, okay, if I'm gone for a year, I don't want my car just sitting there rotting, that's not good. So boom, she texted me, what are the chances of that? This friend, texts me maybe once or twice a month kind of thing. Boom, there it is. That was solved. It was like the doors were flying open left and right. It was like a miracle. And then I have some birds. Oh. And they're my babies. And of course, I have a 2 conures. They're little green parrots, and then I've got a big a a rose-breasted cockatoo. It's a very beautiful bird, pinky bird, And so, they're my babies, and of course I don't want to just leave them with, just some random person. So, boom, here it was. My parents are just like, we'll take care of them. I'm like, really? A whole year you'll take care of them? But Dad actually had me make a video of myself saying, hi birds, hey, how are you doing? And then so he'll play it for the birds like I'm actually there. So doors just flew open. Okay, birds taken care of. And that's really all this stuff. I mean, like, I didn't really have anything really holding me back other than that, So with the boyfriend, I told him, I'm going to be gone for quite some time. And kind of like we both at the same time. Is weird. Like I thought he was going to explode. Like really, like all the other times, when I tried to break up. No, he like calmly just said, yeah, he agreed. Maybe we should break up if you're going to be gone for that long, kind of thing. I'm like, no explosion, no yelling, no. Door flew open again. What? I'm like, okay, I am meant to go. This is happening. Wow, thank you so much.
Well, and what I'm hearing and what I've experienced as well is when you set that intention, the cosmic consciousness drops into each person that's involved in that path and calms them down. And what I found is a lot of times you can just say, Swamiji, take care of this. So without you having to plan, what am I going to say? How am I going to approach this? You just know in your heart that you don't want to harm somebody. You just want it to work out for the best. And then, like what you experienced with your boyfriend, he just was rational and ready. And, we make things more complicated than we have to a lot of times. So maybe explain your journey into the Ananda Yogam program that you're doing here.
So after having Kumbh Mela under my belt, which was intense, just amazing experience, with the storms, the flooding, the mud, the winds blowing things everywhere, blowing the roofs off the stuff. Wowee. And, and people leaving left and right because they're scared, and somebody says, he's just weeding out the...
So I have to tell people, you were the happiest person. It was hilarious because people were leaving. They were so, they couldn't take the turmoil that was going on. And as you say, Swamiji was weeding out people, who deserves these powers that he's giving. And I think because you knew in your heart it was such a gift, like I could depend on Suzanne to come bounding up to me with a big smile on her face no matter what was happening. Time to clean the washrooms again. Okay, let's go.
That's exactly it. It's all about your attitude, and gratitude, because when just knowing that I was there and everything that flew open to make that happen, the fact that I was even there was impossible. It was just wow, a true miracle after miracle after miracle. So after all that, of course, no matter what's going on, I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world or something like that. Yeah, it was, some tough times or whatever, but, it was how could you not just have a smile on your face? Here I am in the hall and it's all flooded. There's water everywhere and everybody's we don't have anything to scoop, so we're taking trays for the food, we're using that to scrape up water. We're doing anything we can, taking these sponge things, soaking it up, and anything you have to. And while I'm doing it, I'm just sure. What's next? It was no problem, power going out, and then on those days where it was sweltering hot, and you're having to work outside, and you're trying to cool yourself off with a little water and trying not to pass out, but it was just underneath was just wow, I'm here. I made it here. And if I make it through this, wow,
How did you react to the snans? This Kumbh Mela was an unusual one. It only happened every 300 years. So there were 3 royal snans and a huge procession. How did you respond to being in a Kumbh Mela royal bath where you go into the sacred water?
So I didn't really know what to expect. I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. So walking up, and there's just people everywhere. I mean, you don't even have an inch to move really. And you get up there, and then it's all these steps to go down. And you know, sometimes you're at the point where you're almost being pushed, and like, you know, wow, what an intense experience. But then you're just so excited to go in the water. Yes, here I am. You know, you did this big, long, hot, white hike all the way there. You know, you're like, okay, water, yes. What a relief. You get in, and you just, wow. Just your whole body is just like, whoa. And then you dunk 3 times, and you're putting your intentions, and you're just letting go all your stuff, all your baggage, everything. It's like you get out, and you're like, whoa, I'm washed clean. Clean slate. Woo, new person. What an experience. And just, it's just big water with these fountains shooting up, and just, man, the energy is just incredible. And then you're walking all the way back, and you're like, yeah, I'm soaked, but this is great. You feel great. You just a whole new person.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, you go in fully clothed. there's no taking anything off. We just waded in these giant saris, but because of the heat, they dried so quickly, and plus, as Swamiji said when we got back to camp, don't shower and change your clothes because it's blessed water that's on. And the whole premise of the Kumbh Mela is that divine energy hits the water when the Kumbh pot is submerged into the location. So it directs this beam from the cosmic source down into that specific location, and the location changes every 3 years. So through a 12-year cycle, there's 4 locations that we travel to, and it's now called
let me tell you, in Kumbh Mela, seeing him for the first time, I'm flashing back right now. It's my first day there. I just got there, got my luggage. I just sat it down. It's dusty, dirty, hotter than the heck. I'm thirsty. I'm like, oh goodness, what did I get myself into? I hear this drumming, and I don't know what's going on. I hear this drumming is coming closer and closer. I look, and then there's all the Gurukul kids banging on the drums, and there's Swamiji. I'm just like, I don't even know how to explain it. I was just like, no thoughts, no nothing, just feeling this intense energy that I've never felt before, feeling this like excitement, feeling this like joy and happiness that I'm here, and there's Swamiji. Oh my goodness.
So as soon as you arrived.
As soon as I arrived. I mean, I don't want to say even 5 minutes after setting my bags down in the little spot where everybody's putting their luggage. Wow. So then, so that was intense. And then from there, and then coming here, same thing, like, just being in his presence, like coming up on stage and receiving, darshan and all that. There's something that happens to me every time I do it, which is amazing. Like, just blank, like no thoughts, just total, pure, happy, like joyful, blissful, empty space. I'm like, wow, could I have that always? Because all these thoughts attacking me, I don't like that. I want them to go away. So just to be in just the state where no thoughts are coming to you, you're just feeling the energy, feeling the joy and bliss inside of you, and then looking at Swamiji. And there he is, and you're next in line. Oh my goodness, how exciting. How wonderful. So it's an intense energy that you feel, and your inner space is just, it's like purified just being in front of him like that. And it's funny because when I go to the banyan tree here, I didn't even realize this was happening until someone mentioned it. I would go up to it and to pray or declare, and I would put my head on one of the branches coming down, and boom, same thing. No thoughts. Just vast, just like the whole cosmos was just, I could just almost see it, feel it, whatever. It just, but no thoughts, no, it's just this, just total joy. I mean, just throughout my whole body and mind and everything, just totally cleansing. And I'm like, wow, this banyan tree is just like Swamiji. And then someone tells me, oh, well, yeah, it is Swamiji. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Thanks for telling me. Okay. That's why I have the same experience with the tree that I do with Swamiji. That makes all the sense.
Now that you're here in Ananda Yogam, it's a residential program, so it's free room and board, and you get to take classes, and then a big part of it is doing seva. So being of service to sort of as an exchange with cosmos. You've given me this, so I'm going to give this back. And you were assigned to the temple, which must have been really interesting coming from the West and having so little background in a temple. What has that experience been like?
Oh, I'm so excited to tell you this. I'm so glad you asked me, because I've told quite a few people this story, and every single person that I told, they just lit up like, oh, okay, I get it now. So I'll just tell you what I told them, because it's exactly what happened to me. Honestly, I went to the temple, not as often as I'd like I told you, because of the boyfriend. But when I did, I felt the energy, in the temple. It was very nice, peaceful, and it was great. But I would stand in front of, these big deities, and I was like, cool, and they're decorated, gorgeous. All right, awesome. And, but I was like, where's that feeling connection? Where is that? That's, I see it in other people. How do I do that? How do I get that? What do I, cool, you're beautiful, but okay. And then I figured it out. I got here to Nanda Yogam program, and I got assigned the temple. I'm doing, I'm helping with the abhishekams, with the alankaram, the dressing of the deities, and we're directly working with them, and it just clicked. I don't know, I can't tell you how. It was just like this friendliness, this like you're real. Like, I'm not just staring at a statue that's dressed up with pretty jewelry and clothing and all this stuff. I actually started to realize you're real. This is your form in this realm, but you're really real. I mean, there's something higher beyond this that you're coming through this. I mean, you're looking through this statue and you're really there. Wow. And it was this most amazing experience. So it's this relationship that you build with them. You know, not just, okay, I'm standing here looking at you. No. It's like you speak to them like they're really there, like they're your best friend. And suddenly they come alive. I look at them and I'll say something like, "Oh my goodness, you are so beautiful. How is your day today?" And all this sort of like friendly talk, like you would talk like to me and you. And I would literally, no joke, see them smile. I would see a smile. Or I would say something really profound like, "Oh, this day is just amazing, and it just, I love that you're here with me," and all these amazing things, and something really profound. And suddenly, like, the sun would just shine right on the face. Something would happen, or it would start raining. All these things would happen, and I'm just like, they're literally speaking to me through, nature or whatever. And so it's all these things that happen. There's so many things. I can't even go on and on. But yeah, you feel that they're there. You see that they're there. You know that they're there. And it literally is a feeling inside. Like this friendly, like, oh my gosh, you're really here for me.
So with that, we've run out of time. But for all of you in the West who grew up like we did without a clue what deities, what temples, without understanding that there's a consciousness and an energy in them, this is proof. This is something you really have to come here and experience, because until you've been in the presence of divine dropping into form, the rest of life is just emptiness. So thank you so much for joining me, Suzanne. And with that, we'll close with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sakuru Paduka Paramastu. Om Nithyanandam.